So I don't really consider myself a smart person. I make mistakes like everyone else. Sometimes I have to bring myself back down to earth to remind myself that I do make mistakes because, just like everyone else, I think I've got kind of like a undulating ego. Some days I'll think I'm amazing, other days I'm not so good. I am a spiritual person. There is issues with that, thinking that no matter what, there are still things I cannot reconcile with a higher power, like starving children and children with bone cancer, animals that get injured. These kinds of things just cannot seem to be reconciled unless God doesn't care or is helpless. And that's something that I think everyone has issues with. And I wouldn't like to think it's like that episode of Black Mirror where that person gets tortured over and over again with a wiped memory for what they've done, because then that justifies reincarnation, which I don't like that idea either. I really would not like to think that some people deserve not knowing what's happening to them and then suffering like that. It should just be, well, everyone's got their own ideas of justice and morally accurate scales of crime and consequence. So anyway, the reason for this video is manifesting. So I watch a lot of Alan Watts. I like listening to him. For me, it's more of a philosophy on life rather than a religious thing. Taoist and Stoics and, maybe not Stoics. They're, I don't know, it's a bit different flavour from, I'm very much a go with the flow when opportunities arise. And it's, for me also, I think the process, Alan Watts gave away the game, so I'm going to give away the game for me. The Taoist action from inaction, or the path of least resistance, at least wipes out all the crap that you're doing for other reasons. Like, say, for instance, your parents left you with some kind of complex, and you want to be a lawyer or whatever, but deep down you don't really want to be a lawyer. You don't have to do, and going through the process of the whole, like Taoist thing or whatever, you learn to kind of relax, go with the flow, sit with yourself. But when the opportunity arises, you will take action in certain directions where you want to go. And I think this is relevant to the manifestation. I've been listening to these videos, like I was saying, I listen to a lot of Alan Watts. And because I'm in that spiritual thing, and I take up the I guess the algorithm thinks that I'm into that kind of stuff, which, I am. But for philosophical reasons, not and psychological, philosophical and psychological reasons. But I don't take everything on board because, as I said, there's things I cannot reconcile. So I don't think there's, there can be magic in people's lives, and occasionally you can get synchronicity and weird things can happen. So that's why I can't rule it completely out, because anecdotal evidence could still be evidence. You just don't know. And I'm certainly not a skeptic. I like to try and be as logical as I can when it comes to, deciding, whether I believe something or not. But, I believe some wacky ideas. I love my conspiracies. I mean, they might seem wacky to other people, but it's a bit hard to give you 100 years of condensed history to, let you, into a couple of bullet points where you can go, oh, I think. It's a bit hard to do that. You really do have to research yourself. And that's the thing, it's whether you want to or not, and that's that's the action from inaction. If it's not worth it to you and it doesn't matter to you, you're not going to do it, are you? And that's, that helps with people who like to, I guess, overwork or get overstimulated, which I do. I get obsessed with a lot of different things at the same time. But then I haven't been lately. For a while I haven't done that, but I'm starting to feel the energy build up again because I've gone through the burnout. There's some twinklings in there, and as this manifestation video comes up, one could assume that it's time for me to start doing things in the manifesting way. Now, listening to it, it sounded very familiar, and I couldn't quite put my finger on what was wrong with it. It turns out that this is the law of attraction, this manifesting thing, which is now quite popular on YouTube because, you get one video, you listen to it while you're going to sleep, you end up getting, a billion other videos because you've listened all the way through one. So they seem fairly recent. Like I haven't really checked the dates on them. But anyway, it is the law of attraction. Now, when it comes to things like magical thinking and, trying to be a magnet for the universe to do things for you, that can take you away from your sense of agency, which I absolutely believe. You're not going to do things. You're not going to try and take control of your life. Essentially, you are the one that's, directing this crazy train. I knew there was something wrong, so I was listening to these things and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And this is why I think that, like, I'm not smart but also smart, because I can't instantly recall something that's wrong. So after listening to about 5-6 long form podcasts that sounded a bit, sounded nice, but also a bit, in the back of my mind I'm going, something's not right here. I went on to a debunking and I had a look at it, and people are saying that, it takes you away from your sense of agency, which I absolutely believe. But it is also the law of attraction. So it's a rebranded, same magical thinking as like The Secret or whatever they all call it. The thing listening to it though, that kind of makes sense, which is why I don't want to totally dismiss it, is because it tries to get you to be positive, train your brain to get into a positive mindset, which is good. And then it gives you the new one, the manifesting rules. The new way that it's sold to you is it doesn't just give you happy feelings. It gives you goal setting, and it tells you, do you believe that these goals are achievable? Then do this achievable goal within. That's your sense of agency that's doing that. And if it requires someone to become positive in order to affect these changes in their lives and take action, I'm not going to poo-poo it. But essentially what it comes down to is you're just trying to change your mood into more of a positive mood and take action. It's not magic. It's not woo. The thing is, I can still think that people would be disappointed in this. I mean, for me, like, one of the I guess caveats that they've put on this is that it needs to be aligned with your spirit. So if if your goal doesn't work out after however many months, it's probably not aligned with your spirit. So then, someone might go, darn, I picked the wrong thing. Let's try again. What was the next thing down the list? Which is fine. You can, there's nothing wrong with that. But some people might get really disappointed and go, no, this is absolutely what it was I wanted to do. This is in tune with my spirit. Like I've wanted to shave wombats all my life, and I'm not getting this. they also said that, within reason, which is a good caveat to have, but then also say that I've now got a six-figure business because of it. The six-figure business is because self-help people generally tend to peddle the flavor of snake oil of the month. That's just what they do. And if you're good enough and you get on the bandwagon, you can follow that gravy train all the way to the bank. But not all of us can do that. And for me, I would like to be wealthy, but I'm not going to be peddling snake oil. My morals don't allow me to do that for whatever reason. I mean, some people are cutthroat when it comes to money, but I can't do that. Especially a pyramid scheme. I do not want to be a part of a pyramid scheme to try and make money. I'd rather do it through means that I've left jobs for less moral qualms, and that's probably not a good thing, to be honest. I mean, not all places are morally 100% clean. But anyway, I digress. I'm going on to a billion other things that I've thought of. With the manifestation, you're not getting what you want. They've got those caveats in there. And if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, like financial reasons, yet they're saying that they used manifesting to get, however many millions of dollars. Now, it could be possible that does turn out, that it does work out for you. And it could just be because you've set achievable goals, and you're continuing to follow the path with a positive outlook of continuing to achieve your goals. Once you complete a goal, they give you another goal. And that's essentially just agency. You using your brain and your time and effort, trying to shape the life that you want to have. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's perfectly good. So the moral question is, do we tear this apart, or if it's working to help people become more positive and have a positive outlook and do something in their lives that could grant them happiness, do we take that away from them or not? I don't know. It's a strange question, but anyway, like I said, I read some debunking things because I couldn't quite put my finger on what was wrong with it. And a lot of these things, they do talk about the spirituality side of it, and talking to source and stuff, and that's all well and good, again, until you start thinking of children with bone cancer and hurt animals and starving children, and some of the things that happen to people around the world. I can't reconcile that with a God that's got any kind of power over the world, or like they say, God works in mysterious ways, which okay, fair enough. Maybe we don't understand it, but it doesn't make any sense to me. And I've had some weird things happen in my life. Coincidences and stuff, they happen all the time. But then I was thinking about doing manifestation just as a like a debunking, but since I already have some kind of a doubt or whatever, they say it's not going to work because you're doubting the thing. But one of the reasons why in the back of my head I'm thinking this thing's a load of junk is because I've had positive thoughts about winning the lottery. One of many things, for more than like 17 minutes a day, frequently, and that's not, I haven't won the lottery, but that's one of many things that I've thought about positively that, my life could be like. It's, why hasn't it happened? Clearly because I haven't taken the action or done the things and blah, blah, blah. People could argue that, it's not aligned with my spirit, or that I am where God intends me to be at this stage. You know, there's a lot of ways out of it. You know, there's a lot of rationalizing these kinds of things. And I was thinking, you know, I'm going to try and do it anyway. Not the manifesting thing, but, you know, I might try and... The cat's meowing at me. But anyway, so I think that would be a waste of time, you know, doing a debunking in that way. Instead, what I'll do is I'll make a video, and you know, if this one's good enough, because generally what I like to do is maybe 1 or 2, you know, videos. If it's not like the first video is not great, but this one I would like to actually, you know, make decent to listen to. And, you know, this is a personal video, so obviously, you know, you're not going to hear a whole bunch of, you know, it is my point of view, so you're going to hear stuff about me and how I'm thinking, not just, you know, facts and stuff. So if I was doing a video on something else that didn't actually have my opinion in it, then yeah, we'd stick to the facts, and I wouldn't talk about myself and sound like an idiot on the tubes and you know, be boring. But in this situation, it is actually my opinions and stuff. So let's see how we go.